It is a story about compromise and community, a push and pull over data and development. Thanks for inviting us in here on the WTHR streaming app. It's 11 o'clock, and we want to begin this evening with a tech company now scaling back plans for a data center. All of this comes after months of opposition from residents on the east side of Indianapolis. Alex Almanza shows us tonight why some neighbors are not yet sold and what comes next.
Heather Street calls Irvington the happiest place on earth.
It's such a beautiful area and it's such a welcoming place.
But after hearing what could soon be built nearby, some neighbors say this isn't the kind of magic they had in mind.
It's not enough. They aren't listening to what we're saying because the majority of people don't want them here.
She's talking about tech company DC Blocks and the data center they're trying to build just south of Irvington Elementary School. The developer recently announced they'd be reducing their footprint by removing an entire building from the plan, along with 25 backup generators and the expansion of green spaces. Street spent part of Wednesday canvassing the neighborhood, talking to neighbors. She believes there's no room for compromise.
We want to invest in our community, in these small businesses, and they're promising money, but that is empty promises.
DC Blocks also has a list of 20 pledges, promising to limit noise, reduce emissions from generators, use little water for cooling, and invest money into the Pensy Trail and local organizations. But people like Councilor Michael Paul Hart, who represents the district, still have questions.
But what about the actual tax contributions? What about the community impact payments? I don't have figures on that. And that is, you got to put it all together to actually measure the project.
Until Hart sees the full picture, he says he's undecided on where he stands.
They got to hurry up and do it soon because the hearing's next week. Unless I can say that I know certain things are going to happen definitively, I can't publicly come out and support it.
Meanwhile, Councilor Andy Nielsen, who represents the area around the development, told 13 News, quote, "I'm still learning more and working through the proposed changes to the DC Blocks development. I'm working hard to uncover more information to make sure Eastsiders have a voice in the decision-making process." The Metropolitan Development Commission is set to take up the proposal on July 15th. In Indianapolis, Alex Almanza, 13 News.
Changes are coming to Indiana's school board election. So when you go to the ballot box in November, you'll see school board candidates listed by their party. Now, according to data from the Indiana School Boards Association, half of the candidates chose a party. More than 71% are Republican, nearly 14% are independent, more than 12% are Democrats. Lawmakers argued this could drive up voter turnout, but help voters choose a candidate that aligns with their values. But the ISBA lobbied against this legislation for years, saying politics should stay out of the boardroom. Some Hoosiers feel the same way.
I'm sure people's political opinions do have some influence on the way they vote on the school board. But in most cases, the issues are not political. They're educational, and that's the way it should stay.
School board candidates will be listed on the ballot based on who the county voted for in the last Secretary of State race. School board elections and education funding referendums were the focus of a panel discussion this evening hosted by Chalkbeat Indiana. People heard from election experts about the changes ahead and what they could mean for your student. Our Logan Gay was there tonight and shares what they're watching heading into the next election.
The school board elections are looking different in Indiana this year. School leaders are talking with community members about what's at stake for students, families, and schools across the state.
2026 is a big year for school funding referendums across Indiana. That's why this group came together to better understand where the money goes and what's at stake. Out of 290 school districts across the state, Terry Spradlin with the Indiana School Boards Association says 55 could pursue a referendum for supplemental funding.
We're kind of not keeping up with inflation with our revenues, and because of lost revenue due to property tax reform. So these districts aren't really wanting to expand, add new programs, reduce class sizes. They're really just trying to maintain status quo.
Spradlin was joined by Indianapolis Public Schools and Indianapolis Public Education Corporation board member Ashley Thomas. along with David Roof, the director of the Center for Economic and Civic Learning at Ball State University. Many in this room are connected to education and hoping to learn more before voters head to the polls in November. Some questions centered around concerns about how education funding is being divided, including the growth of charter schools and school vouchers.
And what worries me the most is the most challenged students and students with disabilities won't necessarily have the services and the charters that they need.
And the fact that the vouchers are just sucking the money right out of public education.
Bradlin says they know asking voters to approve a referendum may be an uphill battle, but he says the alternative could come with consequences.
It may result in reduction in force, where teachers and other staff, are laid off because of insufficient revenues.
Organizers say conversations like this are important because the decisions made at the ballot box will impact more than just families with students in classrooms.
We need to be more aware, and my real concern is the fact that public education isn't getting the support that it needs, and it's the underpinning of our democracy.
We all are stakeholders of our educational system. We all need to invest in it. We need to support our schools.
In Indianapolis, Logan Gay, 13 News.
Radar is clear tonight. However, this time tomorrow night, I will be tracking a complex of storms, provided it holds together. We've got high temperatures on Thursday, 85 to 90, and most of the day will be dry. But tomorrow night into early Friday, a complex of storms and a low-end threat of severe weather. You can see the dry time during the day tomorrow. This is Future Track 13. I'm going to stop it at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Storm complex begins to develop out to our west. If it holds together, it will have an impact between 9 p.m. tomorrow into the very early part of our Friday. And again, this complex of storms does bring the threat of severe weather. This somewhat unsettled weather pattern will stick around for a few days. I'll cover that in the 7-day forecast.
All right, Angela, thanks so much. Tonight, 2 people are in the hospital after this serious crash in Lebanon. This was the scene around 8 tonight on State Road 39 near Lakeshore Drive. 2 cars were damaged. One of the cars knocked down a telephone pole. We're told both drivers were taken to the hospital. Police and fire department officials there in Lebanon responded to the crash. Right now, it is not clear what caused today's crash. New tonight at 11, the jury trial for former Fox Sports analyst Mark Sanchez is getting pushed back again. It was scheduled for Monday, July 13th, but now, according to the online court records, someone put in a request to move the trial to September 8th. There was supposed to be a hearing today in the case, but that was also rescheduled for next month. Mark Sanchez is facing multiple charges after police say he got into a fight with a truck driver, resulting in him getting stabbed. All of that going down last October near Washington Street and Senate Avenue here in downtown Indianapolis. Well, if you're eating dinner right now, you may want to wait before taking that next bite. That's because right now there are dozens of confirmed cases of an intestinal parasite infection here in Indiana. At least 15 cases are here in Marion County. All of this is part of a nationwide outbreak that the CDC says they don't know what is causing it. Past outbreaks have been linked to produce contaminated with feces. This isn't deadly, but it is certainly not easy on the stomach. One of the common symptoms is called explosive diarrhea, but there's another symptom that could prompt you to seek medical attention right away.
When someone is not able to stay up with their hydration, that can be one of the key signs. So if it's a child or an adult, usually it's kind of like they have a dry mouth. They may not, they may be having other signs of dehydration, lightheadedness, for example.
The doctor went on to tell us that it is important to wash your produce very well. You can also eat frozen produce or just cook it.